Rakesh, you want to mention that in the next half, but you said that you want to, and it's actually, it goes right here, because you talked about the self-worth and then how we question ourselves sometimes, even as humans or as like human beings or human doings. And you wanted to talk about, or you mentioned shame, have you?
Yeah, you're right, this does go here, because it's a topic which I think as a kid growing up, I didn't feel love. And I used to, you know, it was that pointing the finger of blame on others. And then my life's mission was to prove that I was worthy. So I embarked on a journey of, you know, getting attention, especially getting the attention of women, because as a male, as a man, seem to be in with the ladies and being attracted by the ladies is, it was seen as, oh, this guy is something, he's valuable, he's worthy. Same with business. Business was something I was pretty good at, and it was something that I went down and tried to prove myself. And I don't know, I was someone that I wasn't, and you could say it was very ego driven. But I guess it was, I didn't know any better. But deep down inside, I felt this like inner conflict, but I didn't know. I just thought it was normal. You know, when you think, because it worked out for me, right? Eventually things did start to work out on the outside. And I just wasn't paying attention to what was going on the inside. And it's only when the outside failed that I was like, oh, this is going on underneath. I need to give it some attention. And it's that thing of like, am I worthy? What do I need to do to prove my value, to prove my worth? What do I have to do to, you know, be someone? Will anyone recognize me? Why do I feel so lonely? Why do I feel so worthless? Why do I feel so ashamed of myself? Why do I want to cut myself off from society? Even got as bad as wanting to, you know, end my life. But it was at that point when I asked myself the question, I've got a choice. I can continue doing what I'm going to do, or I can start doing what I love to do. And that's what made me change my decisions in life. And going into you know, I guess learning about the spiritual path showed me that actually we're all as valuable as each other. And it was only because people were reflecting it to me all the time. All these judgments were going on in my head about other people, but I wasn't paying attention. I just thought, oh, it's out there. It's not in here. But like you said, Ruth, actually it's in here. It's in me. And I didn't pay attention. I just didn't know. So like there'd be this silent voice in the back, just a little like a little whisper saying, oh, he's not that good looking. He's not that worthy. Who's that? Oh, he's homeless. I bet what you know, all these little things, all these little labels and judgments that I was making towards these people, but actually they were about me and how I didn't value myself. Because if I did value myself, I'd see that person there, even if they were homeless, is I'll use the word, the G word, God in disguise. And when I really started seeing that in myself, I started seeing it in others, and I was like, oh my God, God is sat right there, just chilling out, hanging out, choosing to be there as that person. And it just, my heart just went poof, it just opened up, and I felt this massive like relief. And it's still happening now. Like, I'm not saying, you know, that process is over. The process continues. Even during this call, I can feel my heart space opening up more and more, because there's a lot of judgment there that seems to be veiling the light, a bit like curtains that are closed, but the blinds are slowly opening like this.
Like slowly opening obstacles. No, nothing.
Yeah, it's opening up, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, shame's a big topic. I don't know. Like, I think one of them is, well, like, especially when it comes to the body, being ashamed of the body. You know, I spent a lot of my time in the gym. And just, if I didn't go to the gym, I'd get angry, I'd get annoyed, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was that thing of, I'm going to fall behind, I'm going to end up like this, I'm not going to be worthy. So those same thoughts were coming up. But when I went to the gym, it kind of almost made me feel better, because I was doing this thing. But those two things kind of went hand in hand. And what I realized was all I needed to do was honor my insecurities and look at it and be done with it, and not and do the opposite of that, to be fair, and be like, okay, actually, is there a way that I can love myself? Is there a way that I can, fix this myself without needing to, achieve a certain goal or have a certain body or have a certain person in my life? And I realized I could, and I think that's our greatest power, that we can literally heal. I probably won't use that word. I'm going to take that back. I think we can remove the limiting beliefs that might be veiling the light shining through. And so after having done that inner work, my reliance on the gym has gone down, and now it's more of a plaything. Life has become like one big playground where you just feel a lot more free. But it's interesting. It's like, where do we pick these things up from? Where do we learn that to be this is better than this? Do you think it's because me personally, I think it's because of where we've come from. The old is still kind of influencing where we are now, but the stuff we're doing now is going to influence the future. I don't think it's anyone's fault in particular. I think it's just part of the evolutionary journey.
What I can tell from experience is I thought that it's someone's fault, and I truly believe that. But holding that belief that it's someone's fault, it's not mine, it's basically blocking you to actually see the bigger picture of no one's fault, and it's just something that you carry. So recently I uncovered, I think I told you that, recently I uncovered 70 years of trauma in my family line that goes back to my grandfather. And it was just like what you said. It was when you're so much into your suffering that it's blocking your, it's like how I described was, that's how it went through. When you're driving and it's really pouring down rain and you cannot see anything, and you're just so afraid of like hitting something and basically dying on spot. Basically, this is how much I was crying through the release. And this image came to me that was like, I was just so afraid of like going closer and I'm gonna hit something and I'm just gonna and then I was like, you know what, let's just push myself through it and let's see, come out to the other side. And when I came out to the other side, which was sunny after that, you see that I was blaming my family, which is like close family members. How could you? Why didn't you do anything? Da, da, da. But when I came to the other side, where you said that it's like this love came over, and I said, oh my God, he was actually doing his best, or she was doing her best, shielding, not being able to cope because, let's say, that they didn't have the resources or the time or the energy or anything else, or the awareness, which is the bigger thing. But still, that person was doing the best in the family and shielding most of the trauma to rain it on the next generation. And when I went back into my grandfather generation, and I sat down with my parents and was like, can I ask some questions? And I think it's so important to come to that point where you can calmly listen without judgment, but just like you said, because then there's not going to be any shame on both of the parties, which can actually completely destroy that kind of connection. Because then when you start pushing shame on each other, it's just the end of the conversation, and there's more hurt than actual healing going through in there. So when I went back, I started asking questions like, so what happened there and what happened there? And you could actually, I could see like this way. It was like a really well ordered big archive room when everything like cleared. Imagine in the archive room there's a huge blow of wind, and all the papers around, and you look around and I was like, how I'm gonna get this done? It's gonna be like years of like collecting the papers, put them in line. And then when I asked those questions and when I saw that there's no one's fault, and basically there's no point of shaming others into doing things or shaming myself into what we went through all, the archive room just like in order. Every paper was in line, every box was in line, everything was in line, and it was a really ordered archive room right here in my head and in here as well. And that's where I understood that I was like, they did their best. They didn't have this, I have this, and they had a kid, me, they couldn't do because I was more important, which is understandable, obviously. But now I don't have a kid yet, so I have the time and the resources I can do, and I can also help them to either, can do themselves, but I can still have that kind of relationship. And I think shaming here is a huge thing, because again, I could see myself in my grandfather. I'm like, oh wait, I do that like he did. Like I can see. So basically, I also realized that the more that I shame others, the more as well I'm shaming myself. So it's like again, it's a mirror thing, it's a pointing thing. And I think shame can be really powerful in a way that it can actually block more than help or resolve or heal, or however that we would like to call that.
Yeah, I've got an example from when I was in school, and we were in the changing rooms after, I think we were playing football, and we had to get changed, and I was the fat kid. And the PE teacher asked us to take our resting heart rate after the game, and I had the highest one. And he said to the whole, in front of the whole class, that it's very bad to have a high resting heart rate. I basically felt ashamed in front of the kids, the students. And it's only more recently I've come to realize that actually maybe I was representing to him something that he's afraid of happening to him. And so that was his projection of what he believed about what a high resting heart rate is. Because for me, even a high resting heart rate, yeah, it might not feel great, but if we shame it, it's almost like saying to that person, there's something wrong with you. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think that's not a very, well, unless that person's, I don't know, I guess, very empowered and self-aware, it can be a very limiting way to kind of assist someone reach a new height and be free of that shame. And I reframed it for myself. I thought, ooh, what's actually wrong with having a high resting heart rate? Maybe it's high resting because my body's working really well and it's trying to replenish me. I don't know, because I'm not, I don't know every ins and out. I don't know all the ins and outs of why it's high. And it just allowed me to kind of bring that power back into myself and realize that someone might think something of us, someone else might project, they might judge, they might condemn, they might shame us, whatever. But it's our own inner power to know that only we know what's best for us, and only we know what we think about ourselves. And that's the important bit, is to not worry too much about what others think and what others might say, but it's that, can we clear our inner space? And so I use that on reflection as an opportunity to go, do I still have any emotional attachment to that experience? Does it still trigger me? And I think that's the beauty of going through life and having these triggers. The world as it changes, is it going to press on a thorn? Oh, there's still a thorn there, let's pull that one out now. And so for me, self-awareness, self-reflection, meditation is key in overcoming some of that shame. And I think once we become free of that, we can rise like the phoenix. Hence this whole thing of the Zima blue. What if you're ashamed of yourself, you cover yourself up to become something that you think that people will value. I did that with going to the gym, having a business, speaking a certain way, wearing certain clothes, but I wasn't truly being me. And once that shame, I think, is once you've worked on it and you're like, and you feel free again, think, what do I want to be? Because there's no shame there, right? Like, I don't want to spend hours in the gym lifting weights. I'd rather move and dance and play and swim and
Live.
do all these other things. Yeah, I don't want to run a business like most people do. I want to run it my way, which is, you know, I want to do pay as you feel.
Right for it. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I think it's just this, and I think I also believe I was just like having this thought, and I was recently shared my weight loss story on Instagram, and I was like thinking that, you know, like how weight loss is like, you know, body shaming and body image, and it's like all still a big thing. And well, according to like my journey, I basically created this connection between the body and the mind, and how you can basically tap into your body and your subconscious mind, because your body is your subconscious mind, to rewire your mind rather and work from the inside, which is going to have a complete effect over your physical body. But like ever since that, I was also a PT, and I became PT as well, and I stayed a PT. So I'm like, I'm still like, when someone says that, do you know a PT? Yeah, Bree is a good PT. And I don't do in-person PT anymore. So I just like, I don't have the enough like space, and it's not my calling to do. But still people like turn to me and say that, could you give me abs? and I so much have to focus on this, like I don't want to create this like shaming of like, or speak in a way that it becomes shaming. And I think my point is here to, when you went through those things, you also have the power to watch how you educate and inform the people who, let's say, are at the beginning of their journey, and they really want that empowerment in the physical body. Because if I say to that person that you don't need that, you don't, it's also like feeling like, oh, I'm not worthy of having a good body, because I'm just not worthy. I'm not I it's not they don't see the connection between, oh, I don't really need that in order to be happy. But we need to allow them to go through that kind of process of switching. So I think, like, for me, the shaming thing right here comes when people say, oh, don't do that, oh, you don't need that, oh, you don't do that. I don't have the right to say that, or I don't have the authority to say that, but I have the power to take on that person and say, spend some time with them, and then say, to transform his or her mind into, oh, I actually don't need that, I need this.